uh, Trump hasn't been decided as a winner of the election, and he's already screwing up things over here. That's what someone said in the chat. Of course, kidding. But we will be talking about Trump's recent victory on the reality show. But today on the Daily Objective, we will be talking about Gallant and specifically the
Hmm.
fact that he has been officially fired. The sort of the the problems between Gallant and Netanyahu have been apparent for a long time, and I think we knew this was coming at some point. There
Yeah.
were also some reports about it coming sooner, but some things came in the way.
Hmm.
Welcome to the Daily Objective. Joining me today is Alex. We'll be talking about Gallant getting fired. We will be talking about maybe if we'll have time, we'll talk about his replacement, which is Israel Katz, the who uh, who used to be the foreign minister. Some people were actually confused on the yesterday's episode because we were talking about Israel Katz in the relations to UNRWA, but since then he has changed position, so he's no longer there.
He's had
Uh,
a promotion.
So, Alex, what's your let's say what were your first reactions when you learned about this?
Yeah, so I mean, first off, look, I just want to say, like, I really appreciate Yoav Gallant as a soldier. He was an extremely brave soldier in like the Navy, the Israeli version of the Navy SEALs. So like I just want to say before I like trash him a little bit, I really do appreciate that, and I really do respect it, and I know that no matter what, he will be very much remembered, I think, in history, hopefully in a positive way. Right. So, okay, what do I think? Well, I mean, I, it all kind of started right back during, okay, so Gallant, first of all, I want to say like the last election, he ran on this kind of platform that was like, he was like too Likud for Likud, right? He was like far more kind of, I don't know how to say, like gung ho. He was much more of a hawk. He was all the time talking. I mean, he was just like the typical uh Likud party to the maybe like a little bit more to the right of the party, right? Um, and so politicians are prostitutes, right? And the moment they see weakness in a more senior politician, they're going to try and grab his job, right? They're going to try and undermine him. They're going to try and bring him down. So during the kind of protests about the judicial reform, Yoav Gallant, who supported the judicial reform, decided to basically come out and say to Bibi, again, he did this kind of like public, what can I say, a public, basically like a press conference speaking to the press, basically saying, listen, I can't be Minister of Defense. No, he was saying you need to abandon the judicial reform because there's a mutiny, in the army with soldiers refusing to serve. So that was that. And then October 7th happens. Oh yeah, I can't remember what happened after that, but it was like very unimpressive, right? Then after that, um, you could see, so then October 7th happened, okay, and then Gallant really got in line, I would say, for a little bit. And the problem really has been is that um he has the ear of the American administration. They're all the time, or rather, they are rather, yeah, they have his ear, okay? As in they're all the time meeting with him in private, not getting permission from Bibi to have, these conversations. And Bibi also is the one who appointed him, right? So all the time meeting with the Americans, um, and he was being influenced, right? He was being very much influenced, and I think as well that they would really stroke his ego and say, if you have a vote of no confidence against the prime minister, then maybe you can be the prime minister or whatever. I mean, fantastical stuff. I mean, really. Um, and then he gave this press con. Well, maybe I'll let no, this is me, right? This is me. I would continue to talk on it, but maybe maybe we'll let this be a little bit more of a conversation rather than a monologue. Because I've been thinking about this, and I'm
Yeah.
just um
Well,
expressing.
it has been something I've been watching for a while, and honestly, sort of just like hearing about this sort of almost vitriol between Netanyahu and Gallant, I have been getting like PTSD from it because we had this in our last government, and it was like embarrassing to almost
Yeah.
listen to. Basically, when you had like politicians like in the government itself, and this is even crazier because they are in the same party. But
Mm,
in our last government in Slovakia, you had like people who are within the same government, like talking shit about each other through like newspapers, through like different newspapers, and this is very similar. I remember there was a time when basically in Israel right now you have the war cabinet, which I'm not even sure who is there currently, but basically it was set up after October 7 as this sort of executive body. I think it was the defense minister Netanyahu and a few more people, I think from the parties that since have left.
hmm
Uh, and so it was this body, and basically something we have learned, I think, at the start of the year that there were times where they didn't talk to each other, like Gallant, the defense minister, and Netanyahu, the prime minister, haven't talked to each other for like months, which is again, or maybe weeks, maybe months is even,
mm,
but there were those times. So basically, they didn't talk to each other, and that's you can't have that. Like you can't have like a
uh-huh.
functioning government, especially in the state of war, where the people are so much against each other. And you've mentioned also the meeting with the Americans. Yeah, Yoav Gallant has been. I think he even went to the U.S.
Right.
Basically without Netanyahu's permission, which again is it's just crazy. Like having this amount of basically
Well,
non-alignment on the governmental grounds.
Well, I mean, to tell you the truth, Daniel, I don't think that anybody would have cared. That he's, meeting up with the Americans and having a good relationship with the Americans. I mean, I want that for my defense minister to have a great relation. But when it's very clear that they're undermining the war, I think that then that really becomes a much more complex discussion. A normal American administration, I'm delighted for, my defense minister, my prime minister, even the ones that I don't like, to have excellent relationships. That's exactly what I want. But no, but that when it's, I mean, they're being so hostile and undermining everything. I mean, if it wasn't for if Gallant would have gotten his way, we wouldn't have gone into Rafah. Okay, we wouldn't have gotten Sinwar. We would have given the war up in May with, I mean, and I cannot tell you what an earth-shattering experience that would have been because we wouldn't have had the beepers. We wouldn't have had the chance to switch the momentum because now after the beepers and after Sinwar and after us getting Mohammed Dev and after us getting Nasrallah, right? There's this sense of inevitability, right? There's this and I don't want to be a typical Israeli. We get very arrogant after we have, you know, after you've suffered a major loss, we get very arrogant, right? We get very arrogant about all of our capacity, and I don't want to be like that. But they're now the most, I think, important part of the war, the most important moments was when you saw the Shia soldiers the Shia soldiers, when you saw Hezbollah with their fingers blown off, with their eyes, blown out, and at the they're now being, taken to the tomb, these not tombs, like tombs of their basically their saints in Iran, and they're there, and you just see the absolute realization of critical defeat. You know, it's this look of utter despair that they have on their faces, because you have to also get into the mind of the enemy. They believe, the Hezbollah, you know, up until 6 months ago, they believed that they were invincible and that, you know, Allah was totally on their side. And they had a sense of inevitability about it. We will destroy the Jews because it's obvious. Look, we kicked them out in 2006. Look, we're so strong, we're so big, we've killed the prime minister, nobody can threaten us. Da 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 da. And so to see them totally crushed, totally defeated, you know, wounded. Right, these are the hard ass Radwan forces. Okay. And if Yoav Gallant would have gotten his way, or if rather the Americans would have pushed him enough, and you know, he would have managed to, I don't know what he was trying to do when he did that press conference. But anyway, um, if he would have gotten his way, we would have suffered a major moral defeat that would have really, I think, lasted, and it would have not have given us the confidence and the nation's support to go after the Iranian military.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned Hezbollah was feeling confident. Not just Hezbollah. I think the world generally
Yeah.
saw Hezbollah as basically, and even we talked about it, that an action against Hezbollah was absolutely necessary when it comes to, you know, preservation of Israel. The whole reason why
Mhm.
Hezbollah exists is to destroy Israel, and we were surprised. I mean, it was incredible. The fact that Israel managed to target so many soldiers directly. The fact that they managed to kill Nasrallah and his replacement and I think
Mhm.
well, we're still waiting for the next guy. Well, he is in. There is a new. No, I don't remember. Do they call them also secretary generals or of Hezbollah? What is the main person called?
Yeah, I think it is Secretary
Yeah.
General. Yeah.
So they have a new one. We've talked about him. He's still there, but this was all done before even the ground invasion to Lebanon started, which started to basically get rid of, you know, to actually do UNIFIL's job,
Mm.
which it completely gave up on, or not even tried to do. And yeah, this if sort of the Yoav Gallant's way was taken, this wouldn't be possible. As you said, he advocated against. I mean, not only advocated against going into Rafah, but also calling for, and I think this was something I in general liked. He was calling for basically having the day after plan, which I think uh, it's something that there should be we should know
Right.
what is going to happen after, but his plan
But
was pretty
yeah, but
terrible.
well, it's not that he's literally saying, he's literally giving this a statement, incredible statement out of nowhere. And you know, the Minister of Defense doesn't set policy. That, you know, if he cannot carry out the will of the political echelon, right? Well, the Minister of Defense is a very interesting position because it's not civilian in a sense, but it also is civilian, right? So it's like a bureaucratic army, bureaucratic general kind of role. And yeah, so you know, you you have to, if you can't hack it, you can't handle the pressure. If you're being harassed and, you know, influenced by the Americans, you have to quit. You have to quit and hand the baton over to someone who can, rather than to have this public display. But yeah, he also said we shouldn't have a military occupation of Gaza. Why shouldn't we have? You know, you're the Minister of Defense, okay? Do you not agree that a military occupation for a few years would be better than handing it over to the Palestinian Authority and to UNRWA? Like, I mean, he knows these things, right? So it's evasion. And he's, I think that I don't want to sound like I have a tinfoil hat on because I don't have any evidence for this. Okay. But there have been rumors that, the ICC warrant, right? So there have been rumors that that has kind of been dangled over his head, like, because that
Yeah,
Biden, right, they
Yoav
can
Gallant was
stand
one of
in.
the people that there was a potential warrant against him. It was Yoav Gallant, Netanyahu, but
Mhm.
also Sinwar and Ismail
Oh yeah,
Haniyeh.
totally. Yeah,
So that
totally.
makes it
So it's
okay.
the same. So yeah, so I think that that was really held over his head. Like we can make this problem kind of disappear for you, but you're gonna, have to. I mean, I don't think it would have been stated quite as quid pro quo as that. But that's the kind of the rumors that have been circulating amongst the kind of defense people. So okay, but on the other hand, um I have to, I do have to respect, I do have to take what Gallant says into consideration, right? He is an experienced person. I do trust his opinion. So I'm not just, throwing this out, throwing out what he's saying. I'm definitely taking it into consideration. But at the same time, I can't, I really can't see his point of view. And I think if you're undermining the prime minister who was voted in your party and you were given the job, it's not like, he was elected as minister of no, you were given the job by Bibi. So Bibi can take it away, right? And I think that I don't want to be in the position where I'm having to defend Bibi or I'm having to advocate for him. But when you compare, I'm always in this situation where it's like Bibi or Yoav Gallant who wanted to like surrender. So it's obviously I'm on the side of Bibi if Bibi really is on the side of fighting the war.
Yeah, I mean, more information might come into light. Something Yoav Gallant said after basically he was fired. Well, I just say a quick thing about this because I was surprised you can just fire ministers because in Slovakia, which is also a parliamentary system, all appointments and all dismissals have to be done by the parliament. There's no just straight up this. You can like you can put on basically say I don't want to do this anymore if you don't want to, and
Mhm.
you can do that without parliamentary approval. But that's about it.
Well,
So that was a bit
well, I mean,
surprising.
to be appointed, actually, you do have to be confirmed by the
Yeah.
Supreme Court. So, and that was also really part of the problem with the judicial reform is that you couldn't get ministers confirmed because the entire system was so clogged up and political. And Bibi actually is a I can see really from his past that he's a ruthless political actor. But I actually do think that he forgives people because he's invited people like Gidon Sal, who like was a massive menace to him in the past, and kind of So I I don't know if I don't know. Taking that into consideration, I'm not so sure Bibi just, kind of arbitrarily fires people. I think that I think that this I think that this has been like 2 years coming. He tried to
Yeah.
fire him as well.
I mean, now that you mentioned Gideon Sar, so he is returning to the coalition. Oh, I think they already did, and Gideon Sar is actually replacing Israel Katz as a foreign minister, and Israel Katz is going to be the defense minister. So we only have about 2 minutes, but let's just quickly talk about Israel Katz. Just quick things that, I mean, on paper, he looks better. He looks, or at least his rhetoric is pretty strong. We'll see what it actually means. So
Mhm.
compared to sort of normal appointments when it comes to defense minister, apparently, he hasn't served in any senior military command position, which is a bit unique. But of course, as
Mhm.
an Israeli, pretty much everyone served in the IDF itself. And also, well, something, no, okay, some of the great things. he made Antonio Guterres persona non grata, just great thing. He actually did support the entry of into Rafah, and also he advocated for basically no ceasefire without the hostage deal. I would like it better without the second part, but
Yeah.
it's looks on paper as a better fit than Yoav Gallant, at least when it comes to sort of what should be done. We'll see how effective he is. Any last thoughts
Yeah, I
on
mean,
this or on
some
Israel? Cuts?
someone is saying here the main issue is that the Israeli people fear Netanyahu giving himself the right to do anything. No, I really don't think that's what it is. I really do think the Israeli people, vast majority, want to have victory against our enemies. And if Gallant is in the way of that, then and if Bibi is in the way of that, right? Whoever is in the way of that, I can't speak for everybody. I'm just, saying the majority, we want them out of the way. If you're standing in the way of victory, we don't care who you are. We don't care if you're King David. It's irrelevant, or Samson. I don't know, but we're pushing you. We're pushing you off. Even if you're Caesar, Julius Caesar, you're gone. It's like it's not going to happen. We want to have victory against those who threaten us with on an existential level.
Yeah, so we'll see where we'll go from here. Good luck to Israel Katz as a new defense minister. I'm not sure how Yoav Gallant's future looks. Is he still part of Likud? I assume so. Do you know?
I actually really don't know. I would think not, but I'm not so. I don't believe he'll have a political future. I'm sure he'll go the way probably of Ehud Barak, and he'll just make himself into a professional Israel hater. Oh, Ehud Barak's another one that we got rid of in this very kind of embarrassing public way. It seems to be the way.
And let me thank the super chatters. Thank you, Jeff. Thank you, Bonnie. And thank you, Mary, for all those super chats. Trump wins. What now? We'll be talking on the reality show. We'll try to stay positive. I'll try to focus on the positives because we'll have 4 years of talking about the bad stuff. And especially when it comes to Israel, I think Trump, there is a certain relief when it comes to at least the Israel issue. So we'll also talk a little bit about that. Join us on the reality show in just about a minute or so. Thank you, Alex, for joining me today. Thank you, everybody, for watching, and bye-bye.